We'll now call the Common Council meeting of April 6, 2026 to order. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Haas is excused. Alderman Lorik is excused. Alderman Ritz.
Present.
Marshall. Here. Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Here. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Or you want to start us off?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is approval of minutes of 3/17/26. If everybody would take a moment and review them. If there's any errors, omissions, corrections, or discussion, please just take the floor. If there's no discussion, motion please.
Marshall will move to approve the minutes of March 17th, 2026.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 4 is a resolution of commendation to Robert Vaslow, retiring parks technician. Catherine, can you please read that into record?
Certainly. Resolution number 12668040626, resolution of accommodation to Robert Vancelow. Whereas Robert Bob Vancelow began his employment with the City of Oak Creek on May 4th, 2009 as a permanent part-time parks technician following his retirement from the AC Delco Delphi after 32 and a half years of service. And whereas Bob has been repeatedly recognized for his outstanding commitment and excellence in snow removal, diligently clearing snow and ice from city sidewalks, crosswalks, and busy intersections, thereby helping to ensure safe travel for residents, school children, and individuals with disabilities who depend on these pathways. And whereas Bob's technical expertise, strong work ethic, and extensive job knowledge have made him an invaluable employee and key contributor to every major project and the day-to-day operations of the Parks Division since his hiring. And whereas throughout his years of service, Bob proved to be a highly effective employee, providing immeasurable contributions to the residents of Oak Creek and helping to ensure their employment of recreational time at the city's facilities. And whereas Bob is retiring from his position as a permanent part-time parks technician with the City of Oak Creek Parks Division on March 30th, 2026, after 16 years and 11 months of distinguished service to the City of Oak Creek. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Common Council of the City of Oak Creek, for and on behalf of the citizens of the City of Oak Creek, the sincere gratitude and appreciation be extended to Bob Vancelow for his years of distinguished and faithful service to the City of Oak Creek and the Department of Public Works Parks Division, and that best wishes for good health and happiness be extended to Bob and his family in his retirement. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and the city clerk be and is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Robert Bob Vancelow, passed and adopted the 6th day of April 2026.
Thank you, Catherine. Council, any words for Bob? I'm going to take a moment and recognize Bob's service to the city. Bob's service to the city also included one of our major former businesses here at the AC Delco Delphi, which is the site we're actually sitting on tonight. He proudly served there for 32 and a half years before coming to us, and we were lucky to have Bob. Folks like Bob leave their impressions all over the city, and they're kind of unsung heroes. You don't really notice what they do till they're not there to do it. Whether it's the parks in summer or ice and snow removal in the winter, Bob's partially responsible for that team effort in the City of Oak Creek getting that done. And I just want to do a shout out to the entire DPW because this year they were recognized as tops in the state for ice and snow removal. That's how serious they are at our DPW about taking care of the residents here. Not only were they recognized at the state, they're also being recognized in the top 10 nationally for all of the nation, ice and snow removal and control. And Bob was a big part of this team. So on behalf of the entire Common Council, the mayor, and all its residents, I want to wish Bob a very happy retirement and thank him for all his work to the citizens of Oak Creek. All right. With that, I will call for a motion.
Marshall will move to adopt resolution 12668-040626, a resolution of commendation to Robert Vansilo, retiring parks technician.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
And item 5 is public hearing, and it's an official map amendment, and it's consideration of a request to amend the official map affecting properties located at 3810 East American and 9050 South Annette Place and 8950 South Chicago. Catherine, would you read that into record, please?
Certainly. Public hearing number 1 is to review a request to amend the official map affecting the properties located at 3810 East American Ave, 9050 South Annette Place, and 8950 South Chicago Court. Applicant is James Matthey and Max Sachek, Milwaukee County Department of Health and Human Services. Property owner is Milwaukee County and Chaudhry Zeb. Legal description there follows. Date of notice, March 11th, 2026.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council, Chris Sealing, Community Development Director. The first public hearing before you this evening is to consider an official map amendment. We are speaking about the area in the vicinity of East American Avenue and South Annette Place. These parcels are zoned RS4, Single Family Residential District. The comprehensive plan does identify these parcels as for future use as single-family detached. And the Milwaukee County does own the 2 parcels that are identified, highlighted in the teal color there. Their proposal was submitted a preliminary subdivision plat, which was reviewed by the Plan Commission on February 24th. The Plan Commission's authority for a preliminary subdivision plat, they're able to approve or deny that type of application. That is not a recommendation that goes to the Common Council. They're the final approving authority. They did approve the preliminary subdivision plat at their February 24th meeting. The second application is to amend the official map amendment, which is the public hearing this evening. So just a little context. Milwaukee County did propose a 50-lot single-family preliminary subdivision plat that went before the Plan Commission in February. The Plan Commission did approve that. The picture on your right shows the lot layout. It does include 2 outlots, one at the far southeast corner and then one at the far northwest corner of the entire 2 parcels that they currently own. The preliminary plat gross acreage was just a little over 22 acres. Again, it's zoned RS4 single family, so no zoning needed to be approved by Common Council. It was already zoned for a single family subdivision. Again, 50 lots, 2 outlots. They are proposing, or excuse me, their proposal was a density of just a little over 2 units per acre. That zoning does allow up to 5.4 units per acre. So they were proposing a subdivision lot at much less density than what the zoning did allow for. But what we're here to discuss this evening involves a third parcel, which is privately owned, not owned by Milwaukee County, the parcel on 8950 South Chicago Road. And it's because what we're discussing this evening is the official map amendment. So what you see here before you is the light blue. An official map is it's not right of way. It's not a true road. But the city has this laid out in a lot of their undeveloped areas throughout the jurisdiction. And years and years ago, the city just laid out, if these areas were ever to be developed, we anticipate a road to look something like this. It is truly an ordinance adopted by the city, which is why we're here today for an application to amend it. Again, it's not true right-of-way. It's a future path. And the Common Council does have the authority to make amendments. And in this particular case, the applicant is requesting to delete a portion of that official map. So this is how it's laid out today. The middle and the southern parcel are the 2 that are going to be developed by Milwaukee County. And then you can see that the road layout touches and loops a little bit into this particular privately owned parcel from a different property owner. So what Milwaukee County is proposing to do is to erase everything in pink. So that is, as I showed you here, it had the one entrance off of American, it looped around, and then it went north, looped through that particular property owner's parcel, and then stopped here. What they're proposing to do is to not touch the purple. So this would allow development to the north to potentially take place. It just, again, lays out an ideal road system. And when you have these applications come forward, the developer's layout doesn't always necessarily flow with the proposed layout that the city had laid out many, many years ago. And then Milwaukee County's application, the new road is the green area, and this will become an actual right-of-way road, a private road, but it will become, the new layout will end here at the property line. And then we decided to scratch this pink portion because that's probably not ever going to be a layout. However, the city Plan Commission and staff recommended a temporary cul-de-sac at the very north end here so that in the future a developer can connect to that road and would have access off of American Avenue. So it does allow for future development of this particular parcel if that person ever chooses to sell and develop. It's not landlocking that parcel. They would have access through that temporary cul-de-sac. So again, the application is to erase the pink, move forward with the green, and leave the blue or the purple area here. So the Plan Commission, again, recommended approval of this particular application, the official map amendment, at their February 24th meeting. And that concludes my portion of the public hearing presentation.
Great, thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
As this is a public hearing, I will make 3 calls. If you do want to speak, we'll ask you approach the podium, give your name and address. We do have some people that have signed up to comment on item 5, and I'll call them in the order I have them. Please, when I call your name, just approach the podium. Once again, repeat your name and address. Rob Jankowski.
Yes, Rob Jankowski, 1200 West Glen Crossing here in Oak Creek. So been a resident for Oak Creek for the last 10 years. Basically been very happy with the area in regards to diversity. School system, been very great for my 4 children, supportive of that. The thing that's a little bit disturbing to me right now is that over the last course of the few years, housing is becoming more and more unaffordable for certain families. I'll give you an example is in my church where I go to, a couple just had a child, and one's a nurse, one actually works right here in Drexel Town Square, and the other one works for the school district. So they're giving back to the community and they're working for my children and everyone else around us, but unfortunately they cannot afford to buy a home in the area. And so I'm in support of this workforce housing because this gives people like this an opportunity. They're giving into our community. They're providing services for our children. A start. It's a starter home. It's somewhere to start. Everyone in this room had the opportunity to start somewhere. And this is something where they could potentially start out at. It's not low-income apartments or anything like that. This is a starter home for people like that that need that. Because right now, the housing costs in Oak Creek have exceeded that, and right now they're looking outside of Oak Creek, which is sad. And if they look outside and they move further away, then eventually you run the risk of losing those people moving outside the community. So they're vesting into it, so why don't we invest back into them? And this is something that could support that as far as they grow themselves and into their family, and it's not like they're gonna be short-term. This is something that would be longer-term that they're giving back. So being a resident and really liking the area and what we offer here, but this is a gap that we have right now, that this is something that will help. And it also probably down the road potentially could help my children as a starter. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Rob. Appreciate all the comments, and in the end, that'll be another subject, but that is what they're hoping to accomplish here. But keep in mind, we are talking about the map at this time so we want to stick a little bit to the agenda. But I'm just going to assume with that narrative, you're in favor of changing the officially map. Thank you. Okay, next, Reverend Dr. Kenneth Fisher.
I thank you for your leadership on this issue and for the Planning Commission. As a resident, as someone who lives in District 4.
Can you give us your name?
I'm sorry.
Ken.
Reverend Dr. Kenneth Fisher. I live at 10017 Barrington Drive. President of our HOA, and in the district that this is at, when you look at preliminary maps years ago trying to figure out how something is going to be developed, they have limited ability to see into the future. The plans that are laid out and the opportunity for redesigning this area so that it both has potential for the future for the private owner to the north, as well as would make better use for the county, seems to make complete sense to me. So I'm in favor of it, and in favor of the opportunity to have more single-family homes that are in our neighborhood, and that's the development we're talking about. When we look at it as a community, I think it benefits us to be innovative in the way that we approach opportunities for new development. And I'll have to say, one of the reasons I live in Oak Creek is because of the leadership of the Common Council and our mayor to actually continue to make positive, progressive changes and to not just live on the past or on past plans. So thank you for your leadership on this. I believe the proposal from the Planning Commission makes sense, and I'm completely in favor of making this change.
Thank you, sir. Next, David Knoll.
Yeah, I'm David Knoll. I live at 3630 East Brian Dean Court. Basically,
David, can you make sure you pull the microphone down?
I'm sorry. At 3630 East Brian Dean Court, basically sort of where the 8950 Chicago Court is in my neighbor's backyard, my next door neighbors. I'm just concerned about, I'm not sure what I missed the first meeting that the neighbors had, or the people in the area, but like, what's the tax base on these lots? And I mean, a lot of these lots are bigger than all the lots that we have around there, and I want to know the tax base as far as what's the city's gonna get.
Well, sir, I don't want to get into it because the agenda calls for just to
Just the
speak
map?
about the maps. But it will be a system where the home is built by Habitat for Humanity and the county owns those lots. So they'll have a value, but taxable, it won't affect property taxes of the residents going on there by assessment.
Yeah, but will it, okay, if the county's taxing it,
The county owns the land. The county will own the land. It's going to be a land trust
okay.
in the end. But as we move through, those questions will be answered. And
Yeah.
but right now we're just
I mean, as far as how it's laid out, you know, yeah, it's fine knocking off the private land and all that stuff. And the purple stuff is probably way down the road, just like originally 40-some years ago, they said the cul-de-sacs were there for that reason.
correct. We can't landlock that property.
But then with
way
the
up.
contamination of the land that's over there, and as far as the contamination, I didn't catch as far as how they deemed that it was all cleaned up now.
They did their environmental, sir.
And if anything in the future pops up when they're moving dirt,
They'll have to take care of it, but they've already done their environmentals and they know where they can and can't
okay.
go. Okay, thank you. Jim. Oh, yes. Sorry about that, sir.
Hello, my name is James Nunziato. I live at 9254 South Annette Place. I've been following this quite a bit, and I gotta be honest, if you're not making any plans to do to American, the planning on this from a former project coordinator leaves a lot to be desired from you people, with all respect. If you're not gonna do anything to American, you have kids that go up and down that road left and right. And if you're not gonna do anything to it, with a bridge that's crumbling, and you're not gonna do anything to the side of the road, you're not gonna add sidewalks to it, I don't see how any of this is gonna be deemed safe. You just gave two people commendations for keeping Oak Creek safe, yet you're gonna put these houses here in an area that's not gonna be safe for 50 families, and people that drive crazy coming from Alta Vista or going down to the Vista back and forth. I just don't see that happening. And some kid's gonna get hurt. And what are we gonna say to some parent's kid up there that gets hurt from that? And I do have time, so I wanna make sure I get my time.
Yeah, but please, try to stick to the agenda.
I'll stick to the issue.
Can you get to the maps?
Yep, I
too?
will look at the map. So my point is, when you look at the map like this, when you look at the infrastructure, contaminated land, I've asked twice to see how far you've dug. How far have you tested the soil? Because I've asked twice and I've been told 6 feet both times. And it's been a year in between both times I've asked. So how deep have we gone to see if that soil is clean or not? Because if it's 6 feet, that's nothing.
You're asking me how
I'm
deep they
asking
went?
anybody that can answer that question
Again,
because I've been
it's
told
not a
6
subject
feet.
on the agenda tonight.
I
Tim.
understand, but it is kind of because it's contaminated land, which means the houses you're going to put on there are going to be surface houses if it's contaminated.
Okay, I'm gonna
And if
ask,
it's surface
sir,
house,
I'm gonna ask you now, are you okay with the map?
No,
that
I'm
we're
not.
talking about?
I'm not for this all.
Okay, for the record, we'll put you down as not in favor
So
of the
you're,
map.
so you're going to cut off my time for what, 8 minutes and 1 minute and 20 seconds?
I have a pile. We need to
I
stick to the
understand that.
agenda, sir.
I understand that, but can I at least please get my thought out? All I'm asking you to do this, if you're going to do this, let's do it where it's safe. We talked before about making sure people stay safe in this community. Is that true now, or is this true because we want to get this through? Because if it's true about getting this through and make sure people stay safe, then we need to take care of the infrastructure on American. You need to put sidewalks through, or some kid's going to get hurt.
Thank you.
So, no, I'm not for it.
Sharon?
Hi, thank you. My name is Sharon Olison. I live at 9080 South Annette Place. I'm going to try and just go back, do a few comments, and I'll comment. I do agree we need affordable housing, and I know that's not part of this, but I would ask that you actually build affordable housing and not rate-controlled housing. As far as the map is concerned, I do have concerns about the traffic pattern. Adding 2 more entrances onto American Avenue, we do currently have an issue with traffic, cars speeding through that, and we have a really huge growing population of small kids that live in our area. We love to use the resources down at Lake Vista, and I just feel like this is gonna make that situation even more dangerous for us, taking our kids down, taking our dogs for a walk. I almost got hit the other day by someone on that road. So I would just ask that we could look at maybe the traffic patterns and how these are going to be affected with 2 more entrances of traffic coming onto this road. We are gonna have that many more buses going down that road. And we are gonna have that many more family homes being built there with families, teenagers driving through this area. The other thing I'm a little worried about is I was very excited the last 2 years. We have started having our Gerner blue butterflies show up again. And this area, actually right where the westernmost road is gonna go, is actually where we have a plant. It's a wild blue lupine growing. And that is the only plant that supports this butterfly. So have we done a DNR assessment and a inventory? So DNR does an inventory of plants, animals, bugs that live in this area. And what can we do to help continue to support that? I know that was a big thing when we did Drexel Town Square. You were a big supporter of making sure we restored our different environments that we have, wetlands, prairie lands, our different vegetation that live there. I would like to know what these 2 new roads are going to impact and what the county development plans to do to kind of mitigate that impact. I know the other part of it is putting these roads in. They run right through wetlands. We currently have a very, very wet area over there. Our road was closed last week due to flooding. So then putting in more roads, what is that gonna do to our water flow? And this also produces the opportunity to put more houses in there. Again, what are you gonna do with all of this water and where is it gonna go? Because it's been a problem for years and years on all of our, and now you're building into a swamp area. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. What we'll do is I'm making some notes, and we'll try to address those questions at the end with the appropriate person from the county or our staff.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Deslin?
Hi, I'm Declan Sobieski. I graduated from Oak Creek High School in 2020. I live on 8981 South 26th Street. I am in favor of this development because should it be passed, the night construction program will have the opportunity to go in and build the houses in there, and this will help the longevity of the program through the high school. I'm here today to tell you about the significant impact that the program has had on me and why I am in favor of this development. The skills that I learned from the program, building the houses that we built, like pouring, forming, leveling out the concrete driveways and basements, that helped advance me in my career as a carpenter, and that really laid down the foundations of the skills that I have now. Being in the program gave me a lot of confidence. Building the houses gave me a vast majority of the knowledge that I have now. The program exposed me to a majority of the trades, which then allowed me to choose my career path as a carpenter at Bolt Construction. Should this land not be developed and these houses not built, the program will not have as long of a lifetime as it would should this be developed. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Declan, before you sit down, what do you think of the road pattern? That's kind of the subject. You know.
I think the road. I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Tanner?
Good evening. My name's Tanner Henneman. I live at 8480 South Sharon Drive in Oak Creek. I was asked to speak a couple words on the development for Knights Construction. I graduated in 2017, so almost 10 years ago now. I was able to be a part of the first two programs that they had in 2016 and 2017. Yes, I don't know much about it, the development, but I guess I would be in favor of them to build the development because the program really exposes students to all the trades and other options outside high school and stuff like that. And it's led me to have skills that I use to this day in the trades at home, just in my day-to-day life, and it allowed me to go to trade shows and end up picking my career before I even left high school. I know it's not really the subject of the roads or the maps, but I guess I'd be in favor of the roads.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Hold on. Okay. Andy?
Good evening. My name is Andy Hoyer. I've lived at 10415 South Redwood Lane since 2017. My subdivision is of similar size with a similar number of homes and 2 access points off of Oakwood Road. And I work for Habitat for Humanity, so I've seen firsthand that stable housing strengthens families and that home ownership leads to better health and educational outcomes for children, which means a lot to me as a parent. And so for those reasons, I respectfully ask for the approval of this amended road pattern so that this development can move forward. Thank you.
Lynn?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lynn Merkel. My address is 10370 South Redwood Lane. My husband and I bought this home 12 years ago after moving. I'm from Northern Illinois. And I am in favor of this actual road plan. I actually think the modification is really a good one. Having lived in various places, I like that it's got the 2 access points. And with it really only being 50 houses, I see that as a positive, that there's really only, people are only gonna come into that neighborhood and drive through there if they live there. It's not a through place. I live in an area that's kind of similar to this as well, and we don't get random people driving down the street. So I don't see the traffic as an issue, because I really feel like this is designed to be a neighborhood that's a kind of contained neighborhood. People are gonna drive in there if they want to, if they're living there. I just want to address quickly, if I can, just the idea of the workforce housing. For the first 10 years of our married life, we lived in rental properties here in Wisconsin, in Southern California, and in Connecticut. Our first purchased home in West Hartford, Connecticut, was only affordable because we'd already been renting it, and we were then allowed to purchase it at kind of a discount because the owner sold it to us without real estate agents, so we didn't have to pay real estate commission and that kind of thing. Otherwise, we would never have been able to afford to buy that house. I feel like home ownership gave us a better sense of belonging in the community where we worked. It assured that our children would attend quality schools without worrying that we might have to move in a year or 2. I think home ownership also begins a process of equity building and leads to better financial stability. I believe that home ownership, as opposed to renting, does provide stability for families, and stable families strengthen neighborhoods, strengthen the city. Oak Creek has a lot of retail establishments and several manufacturing establishments, and I would support any initiative and any construction like this that would allow people who work in those places to also live in our community and be able to attend the excellent schools that Oak Creek provides. I think that supporting workforce housing, the city of Oak Creek would attract and keep workers who want to live near their places of employment. They'd have an affordable mortgage and would be more likely to shop locally and support local businesses, shops, and restaurants. And I think the affordability restrictions that are part of this plan would prevent that rapid resale and increased costs, inflated prices of housing that kind of makes housing unaffordable for people. Even in Oak Creek, when we bought our home here, it was a foreclosed home. We would not have been able to afford to live in Oak Creek if we hadn't had sort of that benefit of buying a home at a little bit discounted price. But we wanted to live in Franklin or Oak Creek because that's where our jobs were.
Thank you.
So I respectfully ask that the Common Council approve this project. I'm in favor of this plan. I'm in favor of the whole project as it goes forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Common Council members. Thanks for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name's Larry Haskin. I live at 2101 East Oak Ridge Lane here in Oak Creek. My wife and I have been residents of Oak Creek for 43 years. So I'm here to speak in favor of this amendment to the official map. I think that from a planning standpoint, it makes sense to eliminate the connection for this proposed subdivision to Annette Place and Brian Dean Court. I think that is a benefit to the surrounding neighborhoods. And it's going to require any homeowners in this area to get access off of American Avenue.
Man has the right to speak.
So to require the owners of these new homes to access out to American Avenue if they want to get to Highway 32 or to Fifth Avenue to go north or south. So I think the amendment makes sense from a planning standpoint as far as the road pattern goes. Just briefly, with respect to the underlying proposal, my wife Holly has volunteered for Habitat for Humanity for a number of years. It's a great organization. They've had positive impact on so many people in this community, not necessarily Oak Creek, but throughout the community. It's made a difference in people's lives. For people to be able to realize the American dream of home ownership. And we think this proposal makes sense for this city for a number of different reasons. For some of the reasons that have been stated in terms of bringing affordable workforce housing to the city of Oak Creek with some side benefits. This Milwaukee County will get an economic benefit as a result of this. Brings tax base to the city. The fact that this housing is brought into the city is a benefit. And you've heard the connection with the Oak Creek High School and their construction plan. So I think there's a number of different positive side benefits to this proposal. But most importantly, for tonight's hearing, with the only subject matter is the official map amendment, and we support that.
Thank you. Amanda?
Hello, my name is Amanda Rogers. I live at 9071 South Annette Place. Respectfully to those of you that don't live anywhere near us, you're not affected by the cap of our resale. So I'm against it. My kids play outside.
Please refrain.
So my kids play outside. They don't live on their phones. It's dangerous. People from Lake Vista coming down our road. It's dangerous. And also our houses are underwater. So for me, it's a no.
Thank you. John?
My name's John Rogers. I live at 9071 South Annette Place also. I've done many Habitat for Humanity build programs. I think it's a wonderful program. The resale cap is set at 2%, is that correct?
I am not exactly sure of that. So, you know, we'll answer the questions at the end when we go to council and we call up the prospective folks.
And we get to ask questions then also?
No, I'm gonna write them down now.
Okay, so
I'm
can
gonna
I-
write it down.
I can ask them?
That you're asking the cap.
Okay, so I'm asking, is it a cap on resale or is it a cap on fair market value? Is there any ability to have any kind of a market reset after a certain amount of time so that the house can still be affordable to purchase, but gives the new owner an incentive to improve it, to keep it up, to make sure that there's a return on investment for them? Because Habitat is a wonderful program, but you're shortchanging everybody who buys a house if you don't let them build wealth on it, and you're shortchanging all of us who are already there when you bring those values down if you cap it this way. My understanding is 2% on resale. And the longer the people are there, I don't know of anybody who's living there that planned on moving, we planned on staying, that percentage gap between what we should earn, how our value should appreciate, because eventually we'll have to sell our house, versus what it'll be at a cap gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So to tell me, like I've heard before, that it's not a problem over the long term, but it's a problem, you know, maybe just right in the short term.
Those questions will be answered by the appropriate people as
They will,
come up.
so I'm asking them.
I wrote it down.
And so I'm asking for the answer, what,
We're gonna call them up after everybody's done. We're gonna take them all at once we
okay,
call them up.
all right. I'd also like to ask if there's an example of a development like this in an area that like this, very, very close to other existing homes, how those values were affected. And I guess I just like to ask the people who are making the decisions, if we don't get to vote on it, how they would like it if their home values were affected in the same way, because this could affect me to, my rough numbers about $150,000 over 10 years. But people that have more expensive houses, the same thing happened there. Could be $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in the same time period. That's a lot of money. I think I deserve those answers. I think we deserve those answers. I'm not for the map.
You're not from the map. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
James?
James Varga, 9244 South 8th Ave. First, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get a letter about this meeting again. It only went up to Flynn Avenue. Second of all, I know you're gonna do what you do, and the building's gonna go through, because at all the other meetings we were at, people were against it, but our elected officials don't listen to the people that live around it. Second of all, the roads are okay, but as the lady said with American Avenue, City of Oak Creek owns Fifth Avenue, the east side, make the road bigger. You say the bridge is crumbling. You know what? Put a walk path through there. Make it so people can use Lake Vista. You can't get a fire truck through there. You can't get a boxcar truck through there. It's useless. Close it, and if you're not gonna close it, put speed bumps up American Avenue like you would put all around Lake Vista at them fancy houses, because right now it's a raceway up American. I walk at night, I almost got hit. This is ridiculous. You can't stop development, but do something to make it safe. And yeah, I can't believe that. And the water problem you have there, if you were there and seen the cops with it closed down, that's going to be an issue. That the grade is up 15 feet from American Avenue. You say 100-year rains, we probably had 3 or 4 of them in the last 12 years. Our sewer system is backing up. You're at like the end of the thing going to the sewage district. Is anybody looking at making it bigger? That's a question I'd like answered. I mean, do something with the water drainage there. Everything else is pretty much a set deal, but I'd just like to see stuff made safer, especially American Avenue. Highway 100's a beautiful road. You could ship everybody to Highway 100 where you have stop and go lights. With St. Matthew's School and the people coming up American Avenue, sometimes when the school's going, it's not good. You can't even get out on 32.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
Cheryl?
Good evening. Cheryl Bassina. I live at 9051 South Annette Place. I've been there 27 years. My concern with the build, I believe it's great to have affordable homes. I mean, most people can't afford $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes. It's a good opportunity for a growing family. My concern is the DNR facility ID number is 241-956-880. The contaminants that are in that ground, according to the DNR, they are highly toxic carcinogen chemical compounds. So what's going to happen when we start picking that ground up? I don't know, but I am against also the future development where you're going to connect those two dead ends, because 90%, I believe, of these carcinogens, it's highly dumped. A lot of the chemicals were dumped there in the northwest corner. So when I moved in September of '99, there were barrels full of chemicals, shavings, pieces of metal everywhere. It was a hot mess over in that field because those companies were dumping all of those chemicals and scrap metal for the dump site. The other thing is, I will agree with them. American, it's crazy. These people don't even stop for buses half the time. The bus will stop with the kids and put the sign out, and the younger kids are going around them. I believe that we need some kind of speed bumps on American. I personally know 4 people in my neighborhood on my block that have come down with cancer and have passed away. So my question is, you start digging up that ground, what are we going to be breathing in? That's a main issue. We have a lot of little kids in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. And Matt?
Matt Lonergan, 1317 East Golden Lane, Oak Creek. A lot of different viewpoints here tonight, and I think it's important to listen to all the different viewpoints. With this map amendment, I am in favor of it. In my viewpoint I'm coming from is from the school districts, the high school's viewpoint. We have a night construction program where students, you've heard from a couple of them tonight, students get to have the opportunity to go out and build a house throughout the course of the school year. And, and I think it's a pretty unique program for the students to be exposed to that. And one of the biggest obstacles that we have is securing land to continue the program. We've had the program going for 11 years now. Obviously, we'd like to continue to have the opportunity for the students to do that by approving this map amendment and then potentially going into a development. Our night construction program would be able to partner with the general contractor that would be building these houses, and obviously add to the longevity and add to the longevity of our program like this for our students. So again, by approving the MAP amendments, that would provide these opportunities for these students that I'd be in favor of.
Thank you. Okay, this will be the second call. Anybody wishing to speak, please approach podium, give your name and address.
Henry Nateki, 9300 South 8th. Didn't receive the letter either, just like my neighbor didn't. I'm totally against the road structure and the whole project. I don't know if you got people coming on different subdivisions or whatever to say this is good. They don't live there. We all live here. Total against it. Put speed bumps, shut the railroad tracks down, put a dead end, and maybe a little bit more cops around because there's a lot of speeders.
Thank you. Next.
Christy Maggard. I live at 3665 East Brian Dean Court. I'm not in favor of 2 new exit points on American Ave. I have 4 kids. We walk up to the bus every day, and cars speed around the buses. I have to walk them because I'm worried they're going to get hit on American waiting for the bus. So either change the bus pickup then so they come down the street so they don't have to stand on American. Kids stand on American Avenue waiting for the bus in the morning at both Annette and Brian Dean Court. And to get out so they can see the bus, they have to stand out on American. They have to stand on American and wait for the bus. And even my 12-year-old, I'm worried that someone's going to come by in the morning, getting off to work, trying to make it out on 32, and going to get hit by a car. And I'm concerned adding more vehicles exiting onto American, heading up to 32, is just going to increase the amount of cars. Lake Vista cars come up that way. That's a main exit. I don't know what the solution is to make American safer, if it's making it wider, if it's changing the bus route pickup, if it's adding wider on 32 so people can get out and cars aren't backed up on American. I don't have a great solution for that, but I don't know if adding exit points onto American like that it's not going to make it any safer now. So I would have to say we'd have to look. I would need to hear more answers to those questions. Is there a plan for American? Any plan, anything to help so that it's safer in the morning? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Beth Myskowski, and I live at 9173 South 8th Avenue. I have lived in Oak Creek for 50 years. I am absolutely opposed to the official map amendment, and let me tell you why. It is literally going to be my front yard. It is literally going to be my front yard. All my neighbors, all the children, walking their dogs, the children on the scooters. It's very dangerous to me. You guys have no idea the extreme of the traffic that comes down American. And the traffic that we're dodging now already to just simple walks to the dogs, kids playing, is already very dangerous. And to add so much more traffic on top of that, And not to mention the fact that when I purchased my home, it was for the reason of living that quaint life. Coming home and having the woods across from my home and enjoying the wildlife, feeding the wildlife. There's a reason we built homes or bought homes where we have bought them. And to just come in here and act like we don't have a say in how we feel and just rip that out from under our feet is extremely upsetting to me. I'm 18 years as a federal employee, blood, sweat, and tears, and worked my butt off from my little dollhouse on the corner of 8th and American. And for the serenity of it to just be ripped out from underneath me, point being, I'm 100% opposing to the official map amendment.
Thank you. This will be the third and final call. Anybody wishing to speak?
My name is Tracy Szulzeski. I live at 3741 East American Avenue, and I'm 100% against this. Again, I am all for affordable housing, but not, like, why should my housing value go down? I have lived there over 20 years. Like, if I end up having to lose value on my house, having to move, like, this affects a lot of our everyday lives. This affects if we're able to retire. This affects how we are going to be able to afford our lives in the future. And it just seems like not one person up here actually cares about that. It's just all about how can we bring in more, bring in more, bring in more. Like she just said, we are there for the wildlife. We are there for the quiet of our neighborhood. This is going to completely eliminate all of that. And the fact that all of these people have been brought here or something that don't even live in our area to say that they're for it is disgusting. None of those people have to actually deal with it on a daily basis. I am all for affordable housing, but not at the cost of the people who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into that neighborhood and have done so most of their lives. So shame on anybody up here who doesn't take our thoughts into consideration.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now close the public hearing, and we will move on to item 6, which is consideration of the ordinance amending section 601 of the municipal code of the city of Oak Creek, amending the official map and the properties located at 3810 East American Avenue, 9050 South Annette Place, and 8950 South Chicago Court. We're talking about the map amendment is what we're talking about. All these other things ventured way off course, but you folks did come here, and I do want you, the more we communicate this, and there were town meetings on it, I'm going to try to address some of these questions that I jotted down. I'm going to ask the appropriate person to do it. So first, let's, Matt, are you with me here? Roads. There was questions about the 2 entrance exits onto American, as well as just American, and if a TIA would be needed. A TIA is a traffic analysis.
Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. In regards to a traffic impact analysis, 50 lots is not required. In regards to traffic study, since the proposal was kind of brought towards late fall, winter, as they went through their meetings, into the existing status it's at right now, we've been unable to, as engineering, obviously due to weather, to do any of where we would put our counters out, the tubes and that, just because of the winter conditions. If that's something that our council so chooses us to do, we'd be more than willing to put our counters out there. In regards to speed tables, I know that was a thing I jotted down here from several other people. We would obviously have to coordinate that with our fire department and police department on response times and response travel ways. We tend not to put them where those would be located, so those would have to be through discussions interdepartment. In regards to closing down the road or the trestle itself, That's obviously owned by the railroad, and dealing with them has been nothing more than a struggle in regards to being able to manage that and do that. They've been approached probably 10 years ago in regards to trying to widen and manage the trestle itself. We received no responses. We've actually gone to the Commissioner of Rails and have had little assistance from there also. So these are things that we can continue to approach and work on. Can never give any guarantees with railroads. As far as sidewalks, that is always an option. We do have that new program that we have started throughout and supported by the council. These are one of the roads that we could put on there to identify. Probably not this year because our plan is in front of us right now for this year, but definitely can address that in the future years to try to accommodate those pedestrians and try to create a safer space for the existing residents, and if this is past future residents.
Great, thank you. And as long as I have you, can you just touch on the sewer? I know it's not a subject of the maps, but, you know, it was discussed at.
So there's two parts of that. There's storm sewer and sanitary sewer. So if we're having backups in sanitary, one of the components of this project would be to increase the size, and that has been discussed with Milwaukee County and their development. They have agreed to increase the size of the sanitary sewer to address the capacity issues that we have currently there. As far as storm sewer, when we start speaking on storm sewer, we have to follow our Chapter 13 storm sewer requirements, which actually improves. I know a lot of people don't believe this, but it does improve our output of stormwater. We do contain more, and we do treat more, and we handle more volume as far as being able to treat it and hold it. We are probably the most stringent in the southeast region. We go well above and beyond the standards that MMSD requires us to, and sewer pack. So in regards to that, there will be some improvement in regards to stormwater as that continues through, but that will definitely have to go through that phase. That hasn't been approved, that hasn't even been reviewed. That'll have to go through not only us, but then it has to go to MMSD for their approval. So it's a two-step.
Technically, we're still on the roads. Okay. Can I invite the county up to answer a few questions before I go to the council? Name and address, please.
Sure. James Matthews, 600 West Walnut, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, James, environmentals, start with that. There was questions on your environmentals.
Sure. So, Max, do you want to
cover that? Max, can we get your name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Max Sychak, 600 North Plankinton Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You mentioned your environmental area. So that environmental area of concern, I believe one of the residents noted it, is located north of the Annette Place cul-de-sac. So right up in that upper corner. It is an isolated area. That 6 feet boring depth comment that was made, that was probably related to where they found the contaminants. They were isolated to the 0 to 5 feet of soil depth in that area. We heard the neighbors' comments. We are not disturbing any of that area that was deemed contaminated up in that northwest corner of the site. So that's why when you look at the subdivision plat, you'll see there's that outlot 1. The whole purpose of that is that's where the contaminants are. We're not touching it. That's why we're not building a road to connect Annette Place and Brian Dean Court, I believe is how you pronounce it. We're not building that because, again, we don't want to disturb the soil. That's not saying you can't disturb it safely, remove it. The DNR has methods that they would enforce for us to do that. If we went through and did it, we could do that, and we could do it safely by DNR standards, but we're not going to, again, because it just adds additional concerns to a subdivision when it's not necessary.
Okay, thank you. Wetlands, guys?
Yep.
They've been delineated, or?
Yes. Yep, there were 6 wetlands delineated on the property. The DNR has reviewed them and found them to be not of quality that needs to be preserved, so they are all exempt. However, with them being exempt, we are still preserving a handful of the wetlands that are on the property.
Okay. Then you did the tree we have a tree ordinance in the city of Oak Creek, and you guys did the tree inventory and all that. We do not regulate vegetation and what have you. Concerning a bush that was planted or it's native, I don't know. Any comments?
We did complete the tree study. Do we have that here, Max? Yes, but that was completed.
Please.
Yeah, so there are 132 trees that the city deems we would need to replace, and in replacing those, we have to replace them with 399 trees. So every one of these trees that the city deems we need to replace, we're replacing it, threefold? So that's per the city's tree ordinance. As it was noted, the maximum density for this property is 5.4. We're building at 2.27, so we're showing 50 lots. There could be 100 with that kind of rough math, and all of that open space that we're keeping would in theory be developed in that scenario.
And then just very quickly on the assessment on home values, to make sure that it's
Sure. So I would
communicated correctly.
Yeah, so I would say two things, and I think maybe Habitat can address the 2% escalator. So I think the big thing to point out as far as the affordability on this, when you're doing market assessments and appraisal, these homes will not be appraised in the same way that a private market would going to be. So if you're selling your house and you're not in one of these deed restricted homes, an appraiser is not going to be looking at this subdivision. They would be excluded from that particular market study and appraisal.
Is there any examples of subdivisions similar to this where you did habitats and where the county retained the land?
Sure. So really what we're looking for is more of a deed restriction model, especially with Habitat. So I do want to make it clear on that. So we've certainly done projects with Habitat. We've done a lot of single family development recently. This is the first one we've done in a suburb like Oak Creek. And frankly, the reason is it is extraordinarily expensive to build single family homes, especially when you're doing it affordably. We were able to raise significant amount of money to do this. So typically our relationships with developers are going to be within the city of Milwaukee. We raised $7 million of federal funds to do this project. So it's new for us in a neighborhood like Oak Creek, simply because we just have not had the funds to be able to do that. It took us years to develop these federal funds. So it's certainly the first one in a neighborhood like Oak Creek, but certainly not our first relationship with Habitat if we go in that direction.
Thank you. And then the only other note I have is on the 2% cap or the fair market on resale. If you could, please address that.
Brian Sonderman, 21450 Ann Rita Drive in Brookfield, CEO at Milwaukee Habitat for Humanity. So we will have a deed restriction on these properties. The homeowners will be true homeowners in every sense of the word. These are not rent to own, they're not rental properties, they're home ownership opportunities. We envision selling these homes for about $225,000, which is well below what they will appraise for if we did these at market. And so at $225,000, those will remain affordable for the first-time home buyer. The problem becomes 10, 15, 20 years from that point in time, how the future home buyers will be able to afford those homes. And so we will put a deed restriction on the property. It does have a 2% annual increase in value. So there is a sharing of wealth creation and equity in those homes in order to provide future affordability for the second and subsequent home buyers. And I think it was asked earlier, it's a very good question. If a home buyer invests in maybe building out their basement, putting another bedroom in the basement, if they upgrade their kitchen, if they remodel or add a bedroom or things of that nature, in their deed restriction, they get credit for that. They get the benefit of that investment in their own home, so they will be able to recoup that in the future. And so it's not limiting them in terms of investing in their property.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to council. Jim, you want to start us off? Anything?
On that vein, what's the time, is there a time limit on how long the deed restriction?
Yeah, so the deed restriction will be in place for 99 years.
99 years.
Yeah. So that, we're thinking about, and our average home buyer lives in their home 15 years, which is the national average for home ownership for all home owners. So it's very consistent. Every month, we see people paying off their mortgages, and so that's a regular part of Habitat's history over 42 years here in this Milwaukee community, and certainly nationally. This is a very common technique to retain affordability in rapidly appreciating real estate markets.
Have you had any history of deed restricted lots affecting, as it was mentioned, other properties values?
So what we've seen nationally, what we've seen throughout the state of Wisconsin and other rapidly appreciating real estate markets, and it was mentioned earlier, when a home that's not deed restricted goes to market and there's an assessment, there's a appraisal done on that home to determine what the fair market value is, these homes are excluded from that analysis. And that's a commonly known in the appraisal industry, because these will be clearly marked out as deed restricted properties.
Wait, don't sit down. Could you talk?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Could you talk a bit about the measures that are put in place to help the new homeowners that might not have been homeowners before?
Sure.
As opposed to something that might be bought and they couldn't afford it in foreclosure?
Yeah, and so all these individuals and families that will be purchasing these homes would be first-time home buyers. So education is a critical component to this process. We invest a ton of time in education. Usually the process is about 1.5 years from application to moving in. So this happens over a period of time because homeowners are helping build their own home alongside volunteers. And they're doing education. So we have over 30 hours of additional education beyond what's required for first-time home buyers in a traditional WIDA program or something of that nature. So we do an extensive amount of financial education. We do education around the difference between renting and owning, maintaining your property. It's why we've been so successful over the long haul. So we're doing this upfront analysis to make sure that the home is affordable. It's why our foreclosure rate historically is well under 0.5%, which anyone in the financial industry wouldn't believe.
Okay, so since you mentioned the foreclosure rate, if it does foreclose, what happens?
Yeah, so then the home becomes purchased back by Milwaukee Habitat, and we're able to put a new home buyer in that home so that it remains affordable and we can serve another family.
It was, this map actually answered my question about the temporary cul-de-sac.
Chris?
I'm all good. I got all my questions have been answered.
Okay. No further discussion. I will ask for a motion on 6.
Marshall moves to approve ordinance number 3151, amending section 6.01 of the municipal code of the city of Oak Creek, amending the official map affecting the properties located at 3810 East American Avenue, 9050 South Annette Place, and 8950 South Chicago Court.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Okay. Item 7 is our second public hearing, and it is consideration of a conditional use permit for ground-mounted solar collection systems. This is by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewer District, and they are located at 8400 South 5th Avenue. Catherine, would you please read that in?
Certainly. Public hearing number 2 is to consider a request for a conditional use permit for a ground-mounted solar energy collection system at Milwaukee.
Please exit quietly. We appreciate that.
At Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewer District located at 8400 South Fifth Avenue. Applicant is Michael Stoll, Donahue and Associates, Nina Fricano, Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District. Property owner is Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District. Legal description there follows. Date of notice, March 11th, 2026.
Thank you. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. The second public hearing before you is to install solar panels on the MMSD property. The property is zoned I-1 Institutional
Guys.
District.
Sorry, Christie.
No problem. Under the zoning code, that type of project does require a conditional use permit. What they're proposing to do is install 89,000 square feet worth of panels, an 8x8 transformer, a 16x9 switchboard enclosure. Setbacks are 34 feet from the nearest panels and 15 from the transformer. In order for this project to move forward, the first step the applicant had to take was actually to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. They had to obtain a variance from BOZA for 3 specific items, and that is one for the solar array to be placed in the front yard. It is being placed close to Fifth Avenue, and the main buildings, principal buildings for MMSD are set back quite a lot further east towards Lake Michigan. So this is considered a front yard, so they needed to receive the variance to install the solar panels in the front yard. The second was to exceed the solar panel height. The code does require a height max of 5 feet. These solar panels are 9.75 feet in height. And then they also required a setback of 0 feet from the existing wetlands. Our zoning code requires a 15-foot setback with a 5-foot undisturbed buffer. So the BOZA did grant those 3 variance applications in January. Step 2 was to go before the Plan Commission for a recommendation for the conditional use permit. With that application, we did speak about screening. This will go back to the Plan Commission for a site plan and landscaping plan, but screening was discussed at the Plan Commission level. And actually, since the Plan Commission meeting at the end of February, the applicants have submitted revised screening plans. Staff was asking for additional screening to the north side, and the applicant has provided those drawings, which you see before you. So they are going to provide arborvitae plantings for screening along Fifth Avenue to the west. This is an existing conditions picture, and then you'll see the screening of the panels. The shadows will not interfere with the solar panels. The arborvitae will be short enough that they will not have any disturbance. And then this is the southwest perspective. There will be some, I'll call low electrical humming, but the screening will help that. And also the property line of the nearest residence is about 100 feet. So we don't anticipate any issues with that sound. With that said, the Plan Commission did recommend approval at their February 24th meeting, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. That concludes my portion of the public hearing presentation.
Great, thank you, Christy. As it is a public hearing, I will make 3 calls. This will be the first. Anybody wishing to speak, approach podium, name and address. Second call, anybody wishing to speak? Letting me down after all the excitement of the first one. Third and final call. We'll now close the public hearing and go on to item 8, which is consideration of a resolution approving that conditional use permit for the ground-mounted solar energy collection system at Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewer District located at 8400 South 5th. We'll go to council. Lisa, any questions?
I do. So you guys are here. I was at the Planning Commission meeting and I asked you to come with a decibel level, which I'm assuming you have. Okay.
Guys, can you come to the podium? Need your name and address, please.
Fricano. I live at 114 East Vine Street.
Hello, Mike Stoll from Donahue. I'm at 287 Gauchy Drive in Belgium, Wisconsin. So the exact number is 60 decibels, and that's measured at 12 inches from the transformer. For comparison, that's equivalent to your dishwasher at home. 70 decibels is about a vacuum cleaner, and once you get to 85 decibels, that's where OSHA starts monitoring 8-hour limits.
Measured at a foot from the transformer?
Measured at 1 foot any distance from the transformer.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing it.
Ken, anything?
You may know, Christy, do you know, is that property currently fenced?
Yes.
And then,
Sorry, yes, here's a picture from Fifth Avenue.
okay, and the screening shrubbery, what
Mhm.
are we requiring them for height-wise for initial planting?
I don't know what it hasn't gone to plan commission, for the landscaping plan yet, but I don't know if you happen to know the proposed size of the trees.
We're proposing 10 foot in height to offset the 9.75 feet.
And then I actually don't remember seeing the initial POSA variance. What was the rationale they used
If I had to
We can-
guess,
I
it's
can
a
get that to you, Ken.
It's a municipality. It's
Utility.
A utility, thank you, that's the word.
Yeah, well, I can get those minutes to you, Ken, or I'll share them with the council. Yes.
construction timeframe?
We would, if we get approval tonight, we would go to the May site plan review, bid it this summer's, procure materials and construct in 27.
The Humboldt transformer, is that a constant?
No,
I know, it's, I mean, from an Oak Creek standpoint, we have maybe one person living there. South Milwaukee has a few. I'm not sure if. Sure. Yeah. I imagine it, you hear some stories about putting off frequencies that irritate folks close by, but seems like we're not really residential-wise.
On the transformer side of things, for comparison purposes, we're putting in, it's rated 1500 kVA. The main transformers are on site are approximately 4 times that size and about the same distance off Fifth Avenue. And with normal truck traffic going by, it's nearly impossible to hear.
Hey, Ken? Yep. Chris?
I have no questions.
Okay, Jim?
I'm good.
Okay, seeing no further questions or discussion, motion on 8, please.
Marshall moves to approve resolution number 12666040626, approving a conditional use permit for the ground-mounted solar energy collection system at Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District located at 8400 South Fifth Avenue.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
So, our next public hearing is item 9, but it's also going to describe the public hearing for item 11, the rezone, and item 13 as well. So, we will take these singularly as a vote, and we will comment on them separately as well. I will make the public hearing announcement for each one. So, item 9 is public hearing on consideration of a request to amend the planned unit development overlay PUD for the proposed multifamily residential development for all or portions of the properties located at 7430, 7478, 7546, and, South 27th Street. Catherine, you want to read that in properly?
One or doing all three?
You can do all 3.
Okay. Public hearing number 3 is to review a request to amend the planned unit development overlay district PUD for a proposed multifamily residential development for all or portions of The property is located at 7430, 7478, and 7546 South 27th Street. Applicant is Mark Lake, OC 27 LLC. Brian Canyon, Walden OC LLC. Property owner is Walden OC LLC. There follows the legal description. Date of notice, March 11th, 2026. Public hearing number 4 is to review a request to rezone all or portions of. The property is located at 7332, 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street from RD1 two-family residential district to RM1 multifamily residential district. Applicant is Mark Lake, OC 27 LLC. Brian Cannon, Walden OC LLC. Property owner is Walden OC LLC. There follows the legal description. Date of notice, March 11th, 2026. Public hearing number 5 is to review a request to establish, rezone all or portions of. The property is located at 7332, 7430, 7478, and 7546 South 27th Street to Planned Unit Development Overlay District PUD for a proposed multifamily residential development. Applicant is Mark Lake, OC 27 LLC. Brian Conan, Walden OC LLC. Property owner, Walden OC LLC. There follows the legal description. Date of notice, March 11th, 2026.
Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the Common Council, Christy Lane, Community Development Director. I will present for all 3 items because one's related to the other and it's hard to describe the project without describing them in entirety. And then we will go back, and as Mayor Dan had mentioned, we will discuss each item separately and the Common Council will vote on each item separately. So we're talking about the residential portion of the Prairie project on 27th, just north of Drexel. We have gone through an approval process to rezone all of this land. So now we have 3 different zoning districts. We've got the RM1, the RD1, and the floodway. What is being proposed are 3 applications. 1 to amend a PUD that has already been approved by the Common Council. 2 is to rezone one area of land from RD1 two-family to RM1 multifamily. And then the 3rd application is a request to establish a new PUD overlay over one specific area of the residential project. So originally, the Prairie and Seatman Realty proposed a 96 units in Area C, which is the multifamily 3-story buildings, and then 192 areas in a second area of 3-story multifamily rental buildings, plus the middle area of 104 units, which is the 2-story garden-style stack flat apartments. And then right in the middle at the time, they were proposing a total of 50 ranch quad condos or duplex condos. That area was going to be developed probably by a different developer. That was the original proposal. And then 97 single-family lots. So the areas we're talking about today is Area EF and Area D. The first application is a PUD amendment. The Common Council approved a PUD in Area D. Area D is the 2-story garden-style stack flat rental units. What they're proposing to do, and that's just a PUD amendment request. That's the only thing we're talking about with Area D tonight. Then we're going to go north to Area EF. That was originally the side-by-side condo area. What they're requesting this evening is to rezone this. The business plan has modified due to those side-by-side condos just not financially being feasible anymore. And so what they're proposing to do is more of the 2-story stack flat garden style apartments in Area EF, and they Vanguard would be the developer for that. So we wouldn't have a third-party developer here. And so what they're requesting to do is to rezone that to be multifamily. And then they're also asking for a PUD overlay in Area EF. So I'll get into details of that. So this is the zoning that was approved in 2025. We had the 2-family in the middle, which were the side-by-side condos. Otherwise, we had RM1 multifamily, and then we had the tan single-family lots, which We're on the eastern perimeter of the development. What's being requested, the first item, the first public hearing, items 9 and 10 on the agenda, is a PUD amendment, and that pertains only to Area D. So what they're requesting is to increase the square footage of their accessory buildings. That's it. That's their only request with this PUD amendment. At the time, the previous application, they hadn't considered a clubhouse with a pool, and they would like to offer that amenity to their tenants. So what they're asking to do is increase their accessible building area by 4,000 square feet. Originally, the PUD allowed up to 8,000 square feet of accessible buildings. They're requesting up to 12,000 square feet. And again, that's to accommodate the 3,600 square foot clubhouse with a pool. So that conditions and restrictions are attached to the ordinance in your packets, and that is the only modification in this PUD amendment. So that is a request in public hearing number 1. Public hearing number 2 discusses area EF, which is items 11 and 12 on your agenda. So this is the new layout for area EF. Again, more of that 2-story garden style stack flat apartments. We have 5 buildings for a total of 130 units in the middle. The original conceptual plan showed 50 side-by-side condos. Again, that was going to be constructed by a different developer. It just financially would not work. And so they're proposing this different conceptual plan. Still a significant amount of green space in the center of the development. With this request, they are requiring that multifamily zoning. So that's application number 2 is to rezone this land to the RM1 multifamily district, which is the exact same as area D to the south. The proposed zoning does meet the requirements of chapter 17, and it does meet the density and setbacks. And then the third application, items 13 and 14 on the agenda, they are requesting to put a PUD overlay over that RM1 multifamily district. Just to recap the PUD language in the zoning code, some of the purposes of a PUD are to stimulate creative approaches to your commercial, residential, and mixed-use development, and to provide more efficient use of land. That's the part of the reason why a PUD can be approved, and that highlights why they're requesting this specific PUD. So 2 things in this PUD, and they mirror the PUD that was approved already in Area D to the south. One, they're asking for a reduction in enclosed parking spaces, not the number of parking spaces, but enclosed. They're asking for 58% of units to provide enclosed parking for 58% of the units, not the 1-to-1 ratio that our code requires. That was, I'll call it a variance, that was approved by the Common Council for Area D. So again, they're mirroring that request for Area EF. Based off of similar projects they have in Wisconsin, their tenants do not want to pay for enclosed parking. And so this ratio is very consistent with what they see in other products that they offer in Wisconsin. And then the second request in the PUD is to increase the accessory building area again, and to increase the allowable height from 20 feet to 24 feet. Again, very consistent to what Area D has allowed in that PUD. They're requesting additional accessory building area to accommodate detached parking for the units. And then the allowable height from 20 to 24 feet is for the garage buildings. And that was allowed with Area D in that PUD previously last year. So with that, the Plan Commission did recommend approval of all 3 proposals at their February 24th meeting. I'm happy to answer any questions. That concludes my portion of the public hearing proposal. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. As I said, I'll make calls on each of these public hearings. So right now we're going to do close that public hearing. We will now go on to number 11, and that's consideration of a rezone of all the properties located at 7332, 7430, 7478, 7446 South 27th Street, from RD1 two-family residential district to RM1 multifamily residential district. Will be the first call. Second call. Third and final call. Okay, we'll now close the public hearing. And move on to number 15. That's the public hearing for the planned unit development. Consider the request to establish or rezone all or portions of the properties located at 7332, 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street, Planned Unit Development Overlay District for proposed multifamily residential development. This will be the first call. Second call. Should have been on that thing all the whole time. Third and final call. Okay, we'll now close the public hearing and we will go back. Consideration of number 10, and that's consideration of the ordinance amending the existing planned unit development overlay district. Council, Jim, questions?
None.
Okay, Lisa?
None.
Ken?
Thank you, Mayor. Christie, tell me about this, seems to be actually a pretty significant change from what we originally envisioned here on this side-by-side condo with this two-stack flat concept. I don't see any concept pictures of it either, so I'm not envisioning what this actually looks like and how it functions at this development.
We haven't seen architectural plans yet. They are proposing, they're anticipating applying for that June Plan Commission. But they're two-story. You walk up, you have your own entrance to your unit, and then we have detached garages.
Anywhere else in the city that we can picture this kind of thing exists?
It's a new product to Oak Creek. I would say Heyday with 2 stories. You got your, although maybe not, they have garages. John, can you go?
Is the value-wise, Christie, how are we looking in terms of value of
I would
proposed
defer that
versus
question. I'm sorry.
What was originally proposed as to what there's currently
The condos
multifamily
would have been
change.
ownership. These will be rentals. But I am not the valuation expert, so I will defer that question to the developer if you don't mind.
Name and address, please.
Mark Lake, Weingard Partners, 1200 North Mayfair Road, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. To answer the first question, what are our buildings similar to? If you go out to Oconomowoc, it's called the Lachlan, where the Olympia Village used to be. That we have a set of apartment community where the new Sendix is and everything else. We developed that whole thing based around a multifamily concept called the Lachlan, and those are the buildings that we're being here. You go to our webpage at Weingard.com or go to thelachlan.com. It'll bring up the imagery of what our buildings and what we propose here.
What the this multifamily, this is a change to multifamily style living, so it's valuation-wise versus what the original side-by-side condo concept is. What on this acreage for that, or
It's all the same. It's all the same acreage. The valuation isn't going to go down, because we have 5 buildings versus 50 units. I think our buildings. What are our buildings worth? $3.5 million each. I think our buildings. So each one of our buildings are about $3.5 million each. So there's like $17 million in valuation versus 50 units at 500. Or so a piece. I don't think. The numbers aren't very good, but that's what we have. I think it would be done by a separate developer, and then land costs would be added to that and everything else.
so the shift is driven by cost-wise, demand,
John, can we get your name and address?
John Seatman. I'm with Seatman Realty.
Because the condo ownership is, something that's interesting, side by side stuff.
Yes, we're building similar product out in Heartland, the village of Heartland, and it has been minorly successful. We don't think that we can get it to a price point that would work here in Oak Creek. We know we can't, as a matter of fact. So in light of that, we just said it's impossible to do it. That's one side of it. The other side of the equation is that this particular parcel within the prairie is extremely difficult to service and to provide utilities for and to do the grading for on an affordable basis. So the only way to do it is to really do it this way with an increase in density. Just because the per unit cost for improving the land was so high. It just made it impossible. We'd be looking at it the way we were, we'd be at $1.2 million per side of a 2-family duplex, and I don't think that the economics would ever work here.
What am I looking at?
That's a picture of the clubhouse. Here we go. So that's a great picture. Can you see that, the aerial photo?
And that is a rental.
Ready, Ken? Yep. Chris?
No questions.
Okay. I got you, Lisa. Okay. I don't have any questions. It was all kind of covered at planning, so if there's no further questions, motion on 10.
Marshall will move to approve ordinance 3152, amending an existing planned unit development overlay district PUD with conditions and restrictions for a proposed multifamily residential development for all or portions of the property located at 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street.
Guzekowski Girls, second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
We will now go to item 12, and that's consideration of an ordinance rezoning all or portions of the property located at 7332, 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street from RD1 two-family residential district to RM1 multifamily residential district as the listed tax keys. Go to council once again. Jim?
Do not have any questions.
Lisa?
I do not.
Chris?
No questions.
Okay. Motion on 12 then.
Marshall will move to approve ordinance number 3153, rezoning all or portions of the property located at 7332, 7430, 7478, and 7546 South 27th Street from RD1 two-family residential district to RM1 multifamily residential district.
Guzekowski Girls, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Now we will move to 14. That is consideration of an ordinance, number 3154, establishing or rezoning all or portions of the properties located at 7332, 7430, 7478, 7546 South 27th Street, the Plan Unit Development Overlay District for proposed multifamily residential development as tax keys listed. Once again, let's mix it up. Chris?
No questions.
Ken? Lisa?
No.
And Jim?
Ditto.
Okay. Motion, please, on 14.
Marshall will move to approve ordinance number 3154, establishing or rezoning all or portions of the properties located at 7332, 7430, 7478, and 7546 South 27th Street to Planned Unit Development Overlay District for proposed multifamily residential development.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Public hearing is number 15, and that's a zoning text amendment. It's the consideration of a request to review a draft ordinance to amend subsection 17.0505 sub D of the municipal code pertaining to tree preservation. Catherine?
Public hearing number 6 is to review a draft ordinance to amend subsection 17.0505 sub D of the municipal code pertaining to tree preservation. Date of notice is March 11th, 2026.
Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. This public hearing before you is to make 2 amendments to our tree preservation ordinance. We've discussed this in length amongst staff and with the Plan Commission and in our department head meetings, and the struggle of being able to achieve our current tree replacement requirements. We have challenging land left to be developed, and a lot of it is heavily wooded. And we're finding that sometimes it is impossible for the developer to be able to replace trees at a 1-to-3 ratio. And so after further discussion, we have proposed before you to reduce the number of replacement trees. So right now, the code reads, when you have a caliper of 12 to 29 inches, the number of replacement trees required is 3. The proposal is to reduce that to 2-to-1 ratio. And if you have a caliper tree of 30 inches or greater, today's code requires a replacement ratio of 1-to-4, and the proposal is to reduce that to a 1-to-3 ratio. There's also a second component of this draft ordinance, and that is adding the paragraph number 5 before you, whereas if it's determined that a tree replacement requirements outlined are not feasible, after conducting the required preservation and removal plan, the developer may present an alternative that meets the intent of the tree preservation requirements to the Common Council for consideration. That is intentionally left open-ended, so that the developer can propose whatever it is that they propose, and the Common Council can direct, let's just hypothetically say that maybe a developer proposals to provide in lieu of payment to the Common Council. The way that it is worded, it's open-ended, and the Common Council then can decide where that money, where they see fit that money to go. Again, just a very hypothetical situation, but that is the proposed modifications to our tree preservation ordinance. The Plan Commission did recommend approval at its February 24th meeting. If you have further questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
We'll go to council. Jim?
How did you determine the 1-to-3, 1-to-2, 1-to-4 down?
Well, I acquired the 1-to-3, 1-to-4 ratio. That was determined by previous staff recommended that. That's been in the ordinance since 2022, and we simply just thought one step down, try to achieve that. We thought that was a much more achievable ratio, the 1-to-2 and a 1-to-3.
Other communities reviewed?
I think that we're a rare community to even have the tree preservation ordinance.
Okay, so Jim, I knew you were antsy for questions, but we are in a public hearing, and I will make 3 calls. No, it's not on you. It's on me.
I'm sorry.
I went right to it. I blew it. This will be the first call.
Sorry about that.
Second call. Third and final call. Okay, we will now close the public hearing and go on to 16, which is consideration of that amendment. Lisa?
No questions, but thank you.
Ken?
Thank you, Mayor. Christie, we obviously, when we adopted this thing, we lifted this language from, as a household of maybe probably provided it over, probably, I'm not sure. But we adopted it for a reason. With the notion to adopt the amended paragraph, I don't see a reason to change the tree quota, to be perfectly honest. I'd be happy adopting the option that a developer, if it can't economically meet the tree preservation ordinance, that enter in negotiations with us for some alternative solution, but I don't think that added to the overall mix of our zoning ordinance and zoning text, I think that provides an out, feasible solution. So I prefer just to not change the quotas and adopt the added paragraph to our code. The way I'd look at that, so, for what it's worth.
Chris?
Oh, gives us something to think about now. I think I'd be open to leaving it the same or changing it. Jim?
Considering that other communities, Christie noted, might not even have a tree ordinance, I'd be in favor of.
You know, just very quickly, we've ran into situations where these tree quotas just simply would be impossible to meet, given the patch of land and what's on there. And an example is what was testified in the first public hearing, where that subdivision was taken out like 120 trees, and it was relating into 317 acreage they have. That's rarely possible in the city of Oak Creek these days. So I think providing as many options to benefit the city is a positive thing, whether it's reducing it, as Christie said, or whether it can go to trees elsewhere in the city or beautification projects elsewhere. It can all be done, but have to negotiate every single one. We do have to amend it because it gets very restrictive here. Yeah, I think it sticks to our strategic plan to remain a green community, and I think we're sticking to that. Green doesn't just mean trees as well, solar arrays, and that we just put in and things of that nature. There's different types of environmentally friendly things that could happen under this ordinance if it's revised. So that's my 2 cents.
Can I
Yes.
chime in?
Yeah, go ahead,
Because I
Andrew.
think you keyed in on something. We want to, first and foremost, we want them to replace trees. That's still our goal here. What we found though is when you're talking, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, or it's just completely infeasible on the property, which we've ran into at least a couple times now, if not approaching 3 or 4. Those are just the ones that have come forward. Others may not have even persisted or moved forward. So we want to try to get the trees. We want to make that attainable. We just don't know if that's, clearly it's out of reach right now. So if this improves that, hopefully it does.
Yeah, and I think Andrew brings up a good point. Economically, sometimes this can crush you as well, just given the size of mature trees and the value they bring.
I mean, that's the whole point of having trees and keeping big trees in your canopy.
Well, without a doubt, in our zoning code, as developments come in with 30% green, those amenities are ordinanced in already in the zoning plan.
Well, we've seen, what considered green and maintenance of that green space leaves a lot to be desired in many of our developments. So that's another consideration. So we should really protect, especially our big tree canopy, if we take it seriously. I mean, if we actually maintain the current quotas, it actually gives us better leverage to extract a more favorable solution if in fact they have to go to a financial determination to actually outside the tree preservation.
True, but even if they preserve the trees, there's no guarantee they're going to maintain. I don't think
Trees do a
maintenance.
good job of doing that
I don't
on
think
their own,
maintenance
but-
really goes into it. It's debatable.
I also think it's part of the perception that the builders would see Oak Creek as being more progressive in terms of looking at some of our historical requirements. I think the current system is a little bit onerous maybe a lot onerous when compared to other cities that don't even have that requirement. I don't want to put us at a disadvantage by making our requirements so much. I mean, we still want to, as Ken said, we still want to maintain a ratio that is workable and still green. We're not saying let's get rid of the tree requirements like some other cities have. So,
Oh, you're right, Jim, and that's why, the tree inventory is done, to assess what can stay, what may go. We definitely want to preserve, as Ken said, that bigger canopy, if at all possible. If it falls in the middle of the building, prevents the project. There may be other alternatives. So, Lisa, any thoughts?
I'm in favor of dropping the numbers, but I like the addition of paragraph 5.
ditto.
Any further discussion before I call for a motion? Okay, hearing none, motion on 16.
Marshall will move to approve ordinance number 3155, amending subsection 17.050 subsection D of the municipal code pertaining to tree preservation.
Wetzel, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
No.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I got this right, our last public hearing is a zoning text amendment to consider a request to review the ordinance to amend table 17.0304B, 17.0304C pertaining to various use restrictions and to amend subsection 17.0409 relating to vehicle-related use standards and to amend subsection 17.0414 relating to the accessory use standards to create subsection 17.0804 sub E12 and subsection 17.0804 G7 relating to the approval expirations and to repeal or amend various subsections of Article 10 definitions of the municipal.
Ready?
Yeah, Catherine.
Public hearing number 7 is to review an ordinance to amend tables 17.0304 sub B and 17.0304 sub C pertaining to various use restrictions to amend subsection 17.0409 relating to vehicle-related use standards to amend subsection 17.0414 relating to accessory use standards to create subsection 17.0804 sub E sub 12 and subsection 17.0804 sub G sub 7 relating to approval expirations and to repeal or amend various subsections in Article 10 definitions of the municipal code. Date of notice, March 11th, 2026.
Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. I'm not sure which was harder, writing this ordinance or coming up with the title. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Why are we here? The city has a strategic action plan, as we're all very familiar with, and it contains the following goal under thoughtful growth and prosperous local economy, critical success factor to preserve key real estate for developments that yield the highest value proposition to the community. We're running out of land, to be frank, and we have identified key strategic parcels. Over the last year or so, we've been discussing that. The majority of them are M1 and B4 zoned. So we held a workshop on January 6th. It's April 6th, wow, 3 months ago. We discussed what the Common Council and the Plan Commission members did and did not want to see in those zoning districts. And we focused on big picture policy discussions. We did not go line by line at that particular meeting, but we did have a really great discussion. It was an exercise of policy and legislative control. And that is the beauty of the Common Council. You get to set legislative action to design what the city looks like. And so with that, I'll talk about all key strategic parcels that we have identified. Again, we're running out of land. This is land that's undeveloped, that, in a lot of our gateways, our entrances to the city, major corridors, major intersections. However, approximately 46% of those strategic parcels are zoned B4 and M1. So almost half of them have those two zoning districts. And rather than do a major sweep of the city going forward with rezoning all of those parcels, and we can take care of a lot of what we want to see on those key parcels in the future through this legislative exercise and controlling permitted and conditional uses in those zoning districts, which is the 4 pages of tables that you have before you. So staff did receive we do receive a lot of inquiry phone calls about the following uses for a lot of these key strategic parcels. We get asked about fuel sales, gas stations, drive-through restaurants, cafes, fast food, warehousing and logistics is a phone call type that we get every single week. Self-storage in the M1 district, auto body, automotive mechanical repair, assisted living and nursing on occasion, and then U-Haul vehicle rental types of uses. So is that what we want to see in the very strategic parcels that are left to be developed in Oak Creek? And that's what we asked you at that workshop in January. So we took your responses into consideration, and we came up with this proposed ordinance. One thing that I do want to quick bring up is what value do particular uses bring to the city? So again, we're talking about those gas station inquiries that we receive. These are the existing gas stations in the city of Oak Creek. They average about a little over $1 million per acre. Fast food drive-throughs average a little over 1.1 million per acre. Financial institutions, on the other hand, increase up to 1.5 million per acre. And then, of course, mixed-use multi-tenant commercial buildings have a much higher value of almost 2.6 million per acre. So that's just something to keep in mind when we wrote this draft ordinance, possibly limiting some of the types of uses that we want to see in the city. So we have done this legislative exercise before. In January of 2025, we made some, an alarm's going off right now. We made some key strategic permitted and conditional use legislative changes. For example, car washes comes to mind. We said that no longer can standalone car washes apply for the city. Existing ones can continue, of course, but we don't want new ones in the city. So here we are. We have about 4 or 5 pages of changes that are in front of you. This is just a screenshot of some of the more hot topics that we talked about at the workshop, and that I will just quickly breeze through here. For example, one of the changes that are proposed is automotive mechanical repair, auto body mechanical repair. That type of use is allowed in our B4 and our B6 districts. We're requiring that they are only allowed as a conditional use in our LM, light manufacturing district, or manufacturing. So in other words, no more new auto body, auto mechanical repair shops in our very commercial corridors, like around 27th Street, Howell, Rawson, Drexel, that sort of place. The second big change is fueling plazas. How we worded this is that if you are going to bring a new proposal for a fueling plaza gas station convenience store to the city, you have to be 15,000 square feet in area, not just a little one that you see on the corner on, a half an acre. So we are requiring that you be affiliated with a larger footprint. Let's see here, self-storage. That is allowed as a conditional use today in our LM1 district, as a permitted use in our manufacturing district. The proposal is to just delete them. No longer allowed, no more new self-storage applications in the city. And then a big change that we discussed in the workshop has to do with warehouse distribution storage buildings. So the proposal is that existing warehouse storage distribution buildings can always continue to change hands. New occupants, of course, can continue to fill those spaces. If you are in a building that's less than 200,000 square feet, It would require a conditional use permit in the LM1 district and a permitted use in the manufacturing district. But if you are 200,000 square feet or greater and you want to fill a space, that particular use would require a conditional use permit in the manufacturing district. However, if you want to come into the city and you give us a call and you say, I want to build a warehouse, distribution, storage building, any new construction, the proposed ordinance would not allow any new construction of that type of building at all, period. It specifically calls out new construction, any size, not allowed. We did talk in length about that at the workshop in January. And another item to highlight are drive-throughs. We talked in length about drive-throughs in at the workshop in January, and the consensus was that we have enough quick service drive-throughs, we have enough fast food drive-throughs in the city of Oak Creek. If you want a drive-through, you must be affiliated with a building greater than or equal to 15,000 square feet in area. And that would require a conditional use permit in the B4 and B6 district. And then also outdoor storage permanent. The way the zoning code reads today, you can have outdoor storage in our B4 district. So along our major commercial corridors, we took that out of the B4 and said you belong in the light manufacturing and manufacturing districts only, and it does require a conditional use permit. So from a high level, that is a summary of some of the hot topics we talked about at the workshop. If you have further questions about any particular line item in the draft ordinance, I am happy to answer that.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We are in a public hearing. All right. So it'll be our first call for the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak, please approach the podium, name and address. Second call. Third and final call. Okay, we will close the public hearing, go on to 18, and that's consideration of the ordinance. I will not go through the pain of reading that again. Council, who wants to start? Ken?
One would only hope that that's the last time I have to look at this in a long time, so hopefully we've done our job.
We've been over it quite a bit.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, if folks that are looking to come to the community feel the zoning code doesn't meet their needs, they can directly appeal to us, and we'll see what comes of it.
Good point. Chris?
Nothing. Looked good to me.
Lisa? Good. Okay. Jim?
Just one question, and I think Ken might have. So if I own a 50,000 square foot industrial distribution, fasteners, machinery, whatnot, I need not apply?
So if you are an existing business in the
No,
city, is
no,
that what
no,
you're, I'm
no,
sorry, is that?
I'm outside the city. I'm thinking about moving to Oak Creek.
Oh, okay. So you would fill out an occupancy permit if you are talking about occupying an existing building?
Nope.
Okay,
building.
you want to build new. You will not, you will be told that that would not be allowed. If you inquired, yes, if you called staff, you would not be able to construct new warehousing distribution type of building.
The thing that I'm concerned about is the term warehousing and distribution being kind of put together. So is Amazon a distribution center?
Yes.
So, I mean, I would think those are the type of businesses we would want in the city. They're not warehousing. It's not just warehousing stuff and shipping it off. You know, they're providing a additional value.
I think you're probably assuming too, there's assembly involved in maybe.
Right, assembly.
But if like the pure warehousing and pure distribution is low value and low employment.
Yeah.
The example I'm giving is not low.
And actually, so you would need, as the code reads today, if you called, you would need a manufacturing zoned parcel, undeveloped, because you're talking about new construction. there are very, 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 very few parcels that are undeveloped in zone manufacturing. And some of them, actually all of them, are identified in our strategic map. And I think the consensus was in those rare locations that are left in the city, it's not where we want to see that type of use.
Christy, correct me if I'm wrong. Two things on this one, and then be sure to touch on the discontinuance of the use too.
Oh, yes,
at
thank
the
you,
end.
sorry.
But if there is a warehousing or a distribution component of a manufacturer coming in, we would view that as incidental to the principal use of the building, correct? We would make a judgment call of whether this is purely a warehousing or distribution facility, speculative one, very likely,
Yes.
versus a company coming in to make widgets, and they happen to ship widgets out
Yes.
of their facility. We know that those incidental uses are still going to remain
Yes.
with new proposals.
Thank you for that clarification, correct. But if you want to build just its own sole use as warehouse and distribution, that's what we've eliminated. But yes, if you are a manufacturer of something, and of course you have some warehousing distribution component of it, that would be, you would probably be required to go through a conditional use permit. Yes, and then Andrea asked me to touch base on a subsection that is mentioned here. We do not have, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. We do not today have any language in our zoning code where a use is, it's discontinued. A business closes, the building's vacant for a year, and previously they required a conditional use permit. Today, there's nothing in our zoning code that requires a new user to go through that approval process again. So what we did is we added that section. It's part of this ordinance, where if the use is discontinued for 12 months, then they are required to go through the conditional use permit process again. So it's just extra control from the city to be able to review hours of operation and the site of the condition and that sort of thing. So extra control, and also same with expiration of plan commission approval. It shall be valid for a period no longer than 1 year unless a building permit's issued. So plan commission approves a project. They just kind of, they go away. We don't hear from them for 13 months. And then all of a sudden they're inquiring about their permits. We have added language that, hey, it's been a year. You haven't pulled a building permit. You got to go through this process again, and just to make sure that everything is still the same. It's based, right now, their approval is just never ending. And so this is just an extra method to control the approval process and review their plans again.
Other questions, concerns? Andrew, is that all? I was going to ask you if you wanted to say anything either way.
I think there's multiple layers to this policy exercise, and this is the first kind of outcome. Christy showed the map. We've mapped out all of the strategic parcels around the city. We've identified what the current zoning is and the future land use is for appropriateness. But we've also identified that the majority of the parcels remaining as mapped as strategic were in this B1 or B4 and M1 district. So as opposed to taking the hard road of going through and saying you need to be in a different zone, or we're creating zones to better fit our community, we're excising uses we'd rather not, that aren't preferable moving forward out of that. So that's one outcome tonight, is the table of permitted and conditional uses. What will follow is a deeper dive into that strategic map that we put together, and recommendations will come forward on changing future land use designations on parcels, and even considering zoning changes on parcels throughout the city, to make sure that that shouldn't be M1, that should be something, now that the uses in those zoning categories are situated as you see them right now, we would like to go forward and make some recommendations on changing some of those designations. So there's multiple prongs to this. This very likely the most important one.
How does that work? So somebody owns this piece of property and you're gonna go in and just change his zoning.
Just like we did for Drexel Town Square and Peter Cooper and.
But we owned
Heine.
that.
No,
Did we not?
actually, we didn't change the zoning for Peter Cooper yet. We do own that now. I asked for a couple of examples, and we have actively done that to promote development in the city. There's an example in the lake. It's not Peter Cooper.
Work with the owner? Sorry, I just don't understand how you can just go in and do that without the owner.
Thinking ahead of just our approach, we've been talking about this for quite some time. We'll probably have what I call a sweep of multiple properties, sweep one, of some really important, what we feel are important future land use and or zoning changes to make land more developable or developable in a certain desire of the city, what we want to see. It is handled in the exact same fashion as if they're the applicant, but in this case, the city's the applicant. We notify the property owners, we notify the neighbors, we hold a public hearing. It's a process that is allowed. It'll be a lot of thought. We'll go into this.
Any other questions, discussions? Okay, hearing none. Motion on 18.
Gail moves to approve ordinance 3156, amending table 17.0304 sub B and 17.0304 sub C, pertaining to various use restrictions to amend subsection 17.0409 relating to vehicle-related use standards, to amend subsection 17.0414 relating to accessory use standards, to create subsection 17.0804 sub E sub 12 and subsection 17.08 sub G sub 7 relating to approval expirations, and to repeal or amend various subsections in Article 10, Christie, right? Definitions of the municipal code.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall?
Aye.
Gale?
Aye.
Guzekowski?
Aye.
Ritz?
Aye.
And under new business, this is Public Works and Utility. We're going to do a consideration of a resolution creating a new electrical easement at 9325 South Fifth Avenue. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor and Common Council. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that resolution to adopt and create a new electrical easement for Fifth Avenue. This is in conjunction with the work that is being done under the Underground Facilities Rehab Project for the water treatment plant, the chlorine contact tank that is required and has been moved forward. Basically, the electrical service right now runs through that proposed project, and they're just realigning to facilitate the work itself. Very typical, very easy. I'll try to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Matt? Okay, seeing none, motion on 19.
Sorry, Marshall moved to adopt resolution number 12667-040626, creating a new electrical easement at 9325 South Fifth Avenue.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale?
Aye.
Guzekowski?
Aye.
Ritz?
Aye.
Marshall?
Aye.
And item 20 is consideration of a resolution approving a stormwater management practice maintenance agreement with Oak Creek H Development LLC for the development located at 10300 South Oakview Parkway.
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator, City Engineer. Before you is that ordinance, or that resolution, for stormwater management practice maintenance agreement. This is with the Dursey project that we've been working on diligently for the past year or so. Basically, this addresses the additional impervious area that wasn't originally captured under our stormwater that was planned for the Oakview Business Park. It's the area that's just south of the park right now, so it's a very small area, but it requires an additional stormwater maintenance with them. This has gone through the process review through both City of Oak Creek and MMSD. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Matt? Okay, hearing none. Motion, please.
Gail moves to approve resolution 12670-040626, approving a stormwater management practices maintenance agreement with Oak Creek H Development LLC for the development located at 10300 South Oakview Parkway.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
And item 21 is consideration of a resolution approving the Millwood Glen Phase 1 subdivision agreement with VH Millwood Glen LLC for the design and construction of public improvements for the development located at 3521 East Oakwood Road.
Thank you, Mayor. If you don't mind, I'll take both items 21 and 22 together here.
No, not at all.
They're tied together.
Yeah, it'll work.
If you don't mind, just talk to both of them. So the one is the development agreement, which is item 21. The resolution for the development agreement on that. This is for phase 1 of the subdivision, 50 lots or 21 lot subdivision. There's 2 outlots. Those contain both stormwater ponds. This development agreement would cover all the requirements by the developer and any other requirements, financial and plan-wise. This pretty much addresses all of their first phase of the development. The second item is the stormwater management agreement and maintenance agreement on that for both ponds. That has both gone through City of Oak Creek and MMSD approval. So I'd be happy to answer a question on any one of those items.
Questions on either one for Matt? Okay. Seeing none, let's take 21 first.
Gail moves to approve resolution 12671-040626, approving the Millwood Glen Phase 1 subdivision development agreement with VH Millwood Glen LLC for the design and construction of public improvements for the development located at 3521 East Oakwood Road.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And we will move right into item 22, and that's a resolution for the stormwater management practice agreement with Millwood Glen.
Gail moves to approve resolution 12672-040626, approving a stormwater management practices maintenance agreement with VH Millwood Glen LLC for the Millwood Glen Phase 1 subdivision located at 3521 East Oakwood Road.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 23 is consideration of a resolution accepting the workmanship of Broadway Construction LLC, authorizing final contract payment under project number 25030. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. So in September of 2025, BOPWACA approved us entering contract with Broadway Construction to renovate the health department, to basically build an office space for the public health nurse. So they've been operating since we've been in the building. Some of the things have modified and changed throughout their department. One of those things was more of the roles. This role now is more of a management role. They speak with staff. They have some privacy things, and being in an open concept, they requested that a place be built. We went through the bidding process in that and was awarded under BOPWACA for $97,000. The project went very smooth. We finished within the 1.5 months from start to finish. Everything has been reviewed and approved by our maintenance, Dick Kolka, and we're looking to close out the final project. We had one small change, like a little over $1,000, and that was for a light fixture. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none, motion.
Marshall moved to approve resolution number 12673-040626, accepting the workmanship of Broadway Construction LLC and authorizing final contract payment under project number 25030.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
And item 24 is consideration approving the professional service agreement between the City of Oak Creek and MSA Professional Services for the design of Lake Vista North Park Bluff Stabilization Project at a cost not to exceed $663,750.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a very important project that we're going through. We've been working on this for 10 or 15 years down at Lake Vista. This is one of our major final steps as far as stabilization within the bluff. We did put this project out to RFP. We received 6 different proposals. We went through the process of review. We had 6 actually reviewers, all the way from Alderperson Marshall, myself, and then DPW and some other staff. We came down to unanimous decision, I believe, in proposing or recommending this to Bob Waka once again to enter into contract negotiations. They actually reviewed the proposal. They were behind us all the way. We went through this process. We've been working with MSA for probably the last month in regards to kind of working through our scope of services, trying to understand really the logistics of doing both the bluff stabilization and then including the park. On top of that, there are some very, I guess, big picture and larger items we had to take into consideration. That's why you're probably seeing a price of $600,000. But in regards to that, we have a very big plan where we, are anticipating having park features on the bluff itself, trying to make sure that we can stabilize that for the long-term future and the maintenance and basically the endurance of that to last for years and years to come. It's very important for us to make sure that we get this right. We feel very strongly in regards to their scope of services. One of the things to control it is the cost not to exceed. So we may not spend that $600,000. It may be less than that. But this gives us the flexibility to ensure that as we're going through the process, we get it right. We've gone through the contracts. We have the one in front of you. There has been some modifications to that, mainly title block and just some really tiny language with our city attorney, but we do have the final copy. But this gives us the ability to get to that point and start our process of the design. This rolls right into the next item that we'll be speaking with to be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Matt on the bluff stabilization? Okay, seeing none, motion.
Marshall will move to approve resolution number 12674-040626, approving the professional services agreement between the City of Oak Creek and MSA Professional Services for the design of Lake Vista North Park Bluff Stabilization Project at a cost not to exceed $663,750.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Item 25 is consideration of a resolution approving the professional services agreement between the City of Oak Creek and MSA Professional Services for the design of Lake Vista North Park and Infrastructure Project at a cost not to exceed $1,331,500. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the exciting one, I think. This is the one that actually brings the park to life. It also gets the people down there. It provides parking. So this is really kind of, I guess, the centric part of what we're trying to accomplish down there. One important part on this contract is we requested that we do 30% design on the bridge, pedestrian bridge, the pier, and any shelter and restrooms down there, so we can make sure that this is very cohesive as we move forward. We want to make sure the parts and pieces fit together. So this includes 30% design on that, including starting the permitting process to ensure that we can, one, hit that timing, because it's going to be a year or two for permitting on the piers. We also wanted to make sure we had the geotechnical part for the bridges, pedestrian. That's a 400-foot span bridge that we're looking at. So we have to make sure that we get a lot of that stuff correct. Moving forward, this also provides us that ability to work with our environmental consultant, Ramble, who's doing our environmental studies right now on High Night, to ensure that we're meeting all of those needs through our remedial action plan that we're going to be submitting shortly to the DNR. So there's a lot of moving pieces. We wanted to separate the two contracts because even though they work together in parallel, there is some time difference in there in the needs for construction purposes, and then also making sure that whatever we do works with the other remedial actions that are happening down on private entities out there. So there's several things working through this process, but once again, this was a cohesive thing. We've done some real great work behind closed doors with staff and MSA, and I'm really proud and happy to present it to you and answer any questions.
Questions for Matt? Okay, seeing none, motion.
Marshall will move to approve resolution number 12675-040626, approving the professional services agreement between the City of Oak Creek and MSA Professional Services for the design of Lake Vista North Park, an infrastructure project at a cost not to exceed $1,331,500.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Okay, item 26 is consideration of a motion to award the 2026 road improvement projects unit price contract base bid alternate 1 and alternate 2. The lowest responsible bidder, that would be Zignego Company, Inc., at an estimated cost of $3,586,246.23. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that motion to award the road projects. So we did bid this out. We received 4 bids. 2 of them were very competitive. The other 2 were competitive in their own nature, just a little bit low or a little higher. As we went through this process, what we noticed is, the bids were significantly lower than what our engineer's estimate was, which actually shocked us. We went back and looked at it. We went back and tried to understand why. So Andrew Ledger, our design engineer, he put a very nice background in here for you to read. A lot of it was excavation, just things I guess you can't really anticipate those changes. Those are things that just happen in the world here. But in terms of that, it allowed us then to add our alternate bids. And then with the reduction or the money that we'll be receiving from the water and sewer utility, it also allows us an opportunity to add 2 more roadways, which we originally had spoken about. We just didn't feel that our bids were going to be as good. So we're actually working through that process too, where we're going to be adding on 2 new roads, Pendragon and Excalibur, which were our next 2 alternate bids. That'll be an additional $300,000. It still gives us about $500,000 or so, because out of the $4,250,000 goes to our sidewalk program. Now that $500,000, whether it's used as a cushion or additional help, whether that be for inspections, we haven't determined that quite yet. Or we might actually move some of that over to our sidewalk program and try to basically take that a little further. So there are options available for us. Obviously, as we move forward, if there are more roads that we want to put on there, those discussions can happen. We typically want to spend the $4 million, since it is borrowed money. We want to spend that within a year or 2, taking that money to basically, I think we're required to comply with it. So we're at that stage right now, but we're very excited. Once again, we had good results here. This also speaks to our staff and how they've been preparing their plans and going through those different steps here to make sure that we're doing really well. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you guys have any comments or things want us to look a little deeper into, we'd be more than happy to do that also.
Okay.
Danny, sorry.
Go ahead, Cam.
Just a comment, just in general, Matt, appreciate the action on this, but that this is kind of evidence of actually the commitment that we made to spend some money and try and catch up on our infrastructure needs. A long list of projects here and nearly 5 miles of road from my calculation we're going to deal with this summer. So we appreciate you guys and all the hard work, and hopefully the community sees the benefit here as we move forward on this project. So appreciate it.
Perfect. If there's no further discussion, motion.
I'll move to award the 2026 road improvement projects unit price contract base bid alternate 1 and alternate 2 to the lowest responsible bidder, Zignego Company, Inc., at the estimated cost of $3,586,246.23.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 27 is the License Committee. I'll turn that over to Alderman Ritz.
Thank you, Mayor. Please review the licensing committee report included in your packet, and let me know if you have any questions. Hearing no questions, Ritz moves to adopt a various license requests as listed on the 4/6/26 License Committee report.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
And item 28 is our vendor summary report for April 1st, 2026, and it is in the amount of $746,130.35. Please go through your provided packet, and if there are any questions, please take the floor. If you're satisfied, there's no questions or discussions. Motion on 28.
Marshall move to approve the April 1st, 2026 vendor summary report in the amount of $746,130.35.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And item 29 is consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, to decide the following. Discuss the following, excuse me. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to deliberate and consider proposed terms and provisions of financial development agreement with OC 27 LLC relating to potential commercial and residential development for the market completion and bargaining reasons and investing of the public funds that includes the property consisting of approximately 115 acres north of West Drexel Avenue and south of 27th Street. President Gale?
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to convene in the closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, to discuss the following. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, to deliberate and consider proposed terms and provisions of a finance development agreement with OC 27 LLC relating to potential commercial and residential development for market competition and bargaining reasons and the investing of public funds that includes property consisting of approximately 115 acres north of West Drexel Avenue and east of South 27th Street.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Shall now convene into closed session and at its conclusion, resume our meeting. Thank you. Motion to reconvene into open session.
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to reconvene in open session.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
And item 31 is consideration to take action if required. President Gale?
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to approve the finance development agreement between the City of Oak Creek and OC 27 LLC.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Okay. Before we adjourn, I just trust everybody had a great spring break and Easter. So welcome back, everybody. And just keep in mind our farmers market will be opening up in just a few short weeks in the first week of May. So spring is on the way. Stay hopeful. With that, motion to adjourn.
Ritz motions to adjourn.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. We stand adjourned.